So hello, good day. My name is Mark Gabriel B. Cuenta, and I'm going to present the experiment 2 in, in Communications 2 Laboratory. Moving on to our topic, first one is the PWM in LT Spice, and the second one is the PWM in Teams. Moving on to the PWM LT Spice. So the the PWM, or the pulse width modulation, is a technique used in electronics engineering to control the average power or voltage supplies to a load by varying a duty cycle of a period square wave. It is widely used in microcontrollers and control systems to generate analog-like outputs from digital signals for applications such as the motor speed control, LED dimming, and audio amplification. So the pulse width modulation is a widely used technique for controlling the amount of power delivered to a load, such as the motor or a light. So in PWM, a train of rectangular poles with a fixed period is produced, and the width of each pole is varied according to the desired power level. In PWM signal or generation, a sawtooth or the triangular wave acts as the reference carrier and is fed into the comparator together with the modulating signal. So the comparator compares the two signals and produce a modulated pulse signal whose width with varying to change or whose width changes according to the amplitude of the modulating signal. So when the modulating signal is higher than the sawtooth, the output goes high, otherwise it goes low. So moving on to the procedure. So in our procedure, in this figure 2, it shows my version of the given circuit, wherein I copy the original circuit from the PDF file sent to us in the Blackboard. So uh, titled Activity to Generate a Pulse Width Modulated Signal Using LT-Spice. So in this procedure, I calibrated some of the parameters to have a better output signal. And so I calibrated the V in, wherein the sign or V in or the V2 here in the procedure, wherein I calibrated uh, from sine 401K to sine 041K. So the explanation is that in which the sine 401K produce a constant 4 volts DC signal because of its amplitude of 0. So showing no variation over time causes the circuit to have a fixed output with no pulse width modulation. So by changing it to the sine 041K, it creates a varying sine waves allowing the NE555 timer to generate a proper PWM signal with a changing duty cycle. Oops. So here in the output, shown to us a better output of the PWM signal with a variation of width. At the upper side, we can see the PWM output signals, and in the lower side, the V-in, which is the modulating signal or the input control signal. So this is my video documentation for the activity 2, LT-Spice. Here. Moving on. So in conclusion, this activity helps me design and simulate a pulse width modulation circuit using LT-SPI. So this circuit is based on a 555 timer successfully converting an analog sine wave input into a PWM output signal. So the pulse width of the output signal change in response to the input of amplitude. Moving on to PWM teams. So the Nyquist theorem. So the Nyquist theorem states that to reconstruct an analog signal from its digital sample accurately, the sampling rate must be at least twice the highest frequency present in the signal. So this prevents aliasing, a distortion that occurs when high frequency components appear as lower frequency components due to the insufficient sampling. By following this rule, digital systems such as those in the audio and video processing can be convert and reproduce continuous signals without losing essential information. Moving on to the concepts, wherein pulse width modulation, signal generation is a digital control technique that encodes an analog signal into a series of variable width pulses. By adjusting the pulse width or the duty cycle, the PWM efficiently regulates the average power delivered to a load, thereby minimizing excess energy dissipation. So, it is widely used in applications such as the motor speed control, LED dimming, and servo positioning, and is commonly implemented using circuit with components like the 555 timer or the microcontrollers. So next, the pulse width demodulation is the process of recovering the original analog signal from a PWM waveform. This typically achieved using a low-pass filter which smooths out the varying width pulse by changing or averaging their voltage over time to construct the continuous signal. By extracting the average value of the PWM signal, the demodulator restores the amplitude variation of the original modulating waveform. This method is essential in applications wherein PWM is used for communication or control, such as in audio system, motor feedback, and sensor interfaces. Moving on to the discussion. So both figures demonstrate the generation of PWM signals. In figure 1A, a message signal is compared to the triangular waveform using the comparator, producing PWM pulses whose speed changes with the message amplitude. In figure 1B, a rectangular pulse train is passed through a RC network to form a sawtooth-like waveform, enabling the pulse width to vary according to the input signal. Moving on to the circuit. So this PWM generator circuit combines a 2 kHz message signal with a negative DC offset in an adder. So then compares this combined signal against an 8.33 kHz carrier from a twin pulse generator using a comparator to produce the pulse width modulated output. So the DC offset is first adjusted to 0 message amplitude to maximize the linear pulse width range before recentering it. Then the message signal is reintroduced to create the final PWM signal. So using a message frequency that is exactly one-fourth of the carrier frequency ensures a stable uh, a stable oscilloscope display. In contrast, the optional testing with a sum and a non submultiple audio frequency can reveal interesting modulation effects such as the bit patterns. Moving on to the results. To generate a PWM signal, a modulating signal, and sawtooth waveform are required as input to a comparator. A sawtooth wave is created by filtering a square wave carrier through an RC low-pass circuit, so which smooths the square waves or square pulse into a linear ramp by slowly discharging during each cycle. So in figure 1, it is demonstrated this transformation wherein the original square wave signal is dissipated in black and the resulting sawtooth waveform is shown in the red color. Moving on to the next one, the sawtooth waveform and the message signal are fed into the comparator. So this process modulates the signal or the message by the generating a pulse train which changes in proportion to the message amplitude. As shown in the figure 2, the output waveform varies in the pulse width according to the high and low voltage levels of the input signal. Lastly is the original signal can be recovered from a PWM waveform by demodulating it through a low-pass filter, typically an RC circuit. This filter smooths the PWM pulse into a continuous waveform, as shown in the figure 3, wherein the demodulated signal in red is reconstructed from the PWM input. The recovered signal matches the original message waveform in black, wherein it exhibits a noticeable 180-degree phase shift. So in conclusion, a square wave is used as the carrier and the sine wave is used as the message signal to create an appropriate pulse width modulated signal. A low pass filter is used to first shape the carrier into a sawtooth wave which smoothes the falling edge while maintaining the abrupt rising transition. The PWM output is then created by a comparator modulating this sawtooth with the sine wave. Another low pulse filter is applied to the PWM signal during the demodulation in order to smooth the pulse and recreate the original sine wave. So in contrast to the input and the recovered signal, in this configuration, it shows a 180-degree phase shift. So this is the proper performance. So in the PWM teams, I use the last term output since we have not done it face to face this term due to the change of schedule because of the face to face and online alternating. So that is all. Thank you for listening.